Good evening. Tonight I'll just be showing an alternative locomotion system. This is for those who don't want to work with the advanced locomotion system, especially the blueprint version, which is very performance heavy and just way too finicky, and it has caused me nothing but issues. So I started looking around for something different, and I found the Easy Locomotion Toolkit, which is a lot better performance, and it takes a lot less of the hassle of starting up a new thing compared to the ALS. So what we'll do is I'll just show you the basic gist of it. As you can see at the top here, there's no plugins needed for like transferring any datas or functions, nothing like that. All you need is your combat system, whatever it is, or just any of your own stuff in general, and then the movement system migrated over into it. So first thing we will want to do is go into data, take the skeleton. Generally you can just retarget it, but I prefer just delete it and replace all these animations and stuff with player UE4 mannequin skeleton, which is the skeleton used in our particular combat system. Click that, replace, save. That's all you need to do for that there. All that's basically doing now is just giving all the animation should work now just out of the box for us in this movement system now under our own character. So first things we open our blueprints, base test blueprint. Also meshes, PC blueprints. There's two animation blueprints in here, a base default and a base feature. I generally go for the feature one. Now we got the movement systems blueprint and animation blueprint, so we'll do the same for this combat blueprints. Our main blueprint character. Right. First things we will do, as you can see, you don't have to go into like no base settings and set any kind of like parent blueprints and such. None of that's needed either. What we do, we go into our player character first. We add the locomotion component. Compile that. Just leave that for now. We won't be back in there for a bit yet, so we just come back to our animation blueprint. And we will go to the event graph first. And what we will do in here is we will go to the event graph of the movement blueprint, and you'll see it's got a couple of functions, about 3 functions that we can make. You probably could use the transfer tool to transfer them, but it's only the 3 of them, so it's quick and easy. So we'll start with the locomotion init. Just copy and paste all of this. Go to our own blueprint function. Paste. Then we just make these variables. I don't even know if this server one is needed. Like, I think that might just be for like no online games up, but I'll just keep it there in general. Also for now, in my testing, that is basically disconnected from that there, which it'll probably still work with it connected, but for now I'll just leave it disconnected because I know it works without. Back to the event graph. Get the other one then, the locomotion tick. copy all of this. These functions here are all the stuff you can see. It'll take the variables from the component itself, put them in with the variables of your own animation blueprint, so it all syncs together. So in your animation blueprint, a new function, locomotion tick, and again just copy and paste and create the variables. Create, etc., etc. And then the last function is getAnim, which this basically uses. Then it gets the animations from the data. Because as you can see in the blueprint, it gets all its info dive from data sheets. All these functions is part of it and such. Now this here, what it says are movement data apparently is you do not touch that. That's all the stuff that happens in real time as the game's playing. What you can edit later on when it's all set up and running is the editable data, where you can change up all various settings and to use different data sheets and speed sheets if you wish. Right now it comes with ones already. It's got the data animation and data speed, and these are just basically what holds to your walk, your run speed, and then of course all your various animations will all be in here. As you can see, you just choose the blend space, type it in there, and it'll follow along for the whole thing. We'll get to that a little later. For now, so we just copy this, make that function here, getAnim, paste it in. Alright, that is the three major feature functions. So what we need to do then, go back to this one, is we just need to set them up similar to this. So if we go back to our player inputs, event graph. Now as you can see, because a lot of the combat system of ours has a lot of functions of ours, it can cause a few issues if it's not all put in right. For example, with the event, where is it? Ah, here we go. Locomotion tick. Originally, when I had this, I had it just gathered in at the end of this here, and it was causing all kinds of issues, and it wasn't working right. So I found actually the best way to do it is just simply sequence. Sequences are going to be our friend for this. Take that. As you see, then it spreads up into both of those right away. Up here is a bit more different because you can see on this, the way this system is, it has both your begin play and your initialize combined into this, but that won't work with a combat system. It entirely just interferes with all these other components. It stops some of them running, especially the hit component. The hit reactions and such and all. It really messes up a lot of these. So once again, the best way for this is we get the functions, we override the initialize blueprint, the initialize animation. We'll just bring it up here. Slap that in there, and then right at the very end here, slap it into there as well. There we go. As you can see, so far no errors, no issues. And then on the actual anim graph itself, all of us are familiar with this. And we used to be with the ALS, there was a lot of functions. You had to copy and paste a whole load of stuff in here, change all over. It was a big commotion. For this, I think the easiest way I've found so far has been, where is it? It's just anim graph. This is the baseline anim graph of the thing. All this is just the various, split up into different body parts and stuff, so none of this is really essential. So what we'll do is just click on this one, all movement, and we'll take this state machine here, which is its core movement. As you can see, it's just the basic, your basic grounded, it'll do all this various stuff here. As you're idle or you're moving or you're stopping, you'll see all that as you're setting in your own animations and stuff. It's all pretty basics in terms of what each state machine itself does. So we'll just take this basic movement, copy it, bring it right over here, and because we set the skeleton to retarget it or delete it in our case, we can just paste it in here, and then I just slap it into there, and then slap it into place here as well, since it has both of all our jump animations done. You can split them up in all yourself if you want to as well. You can disconnect the jumping from the other one. You can disconnect, jumping from this one and just have the grounded states, and then have your jump up there if you want, whichever way you want to do it. And then we just take with this here, default slot, full body. Save this. We'll just call this the combat. There we go. And we basically stick that. The reason I do this is because this system does not have a like an IK system or a vaulting system like ALS did, which is the one downside, unfortunately, but they can be added. There's other functions and features, like particularly with I was using Dragon IK, so I have this here, then the Dragon the spine solver and its functions, all along here, just to combine them up with Dragon IK, and it works pretty well so far. I'm still doing a lot of tests with that. There we go. You can combine and you will get the A pose. Get anim. Oh yes. This was one issue. This is my fault. I actually forgot when you're making this get anim function. I forgot to click that over into there and then make this a pure. That was my fault. And now one last thing is, as you will see, you'll get this gun icon here, and all these blend spaces will have little yellow warnings on them. This is normal as well. What you do for that is you click on class settings up here and tick this. Just turn this off. Compile again. And that's it. I think that might be all the main features of it off the top of my head. Obviously, there's other things that can be done, but a lot of this is, it comes with a data sheet, with its own little animations and such. At least the version I got. So if we click on RPG and we'll test here and see if we might need anything else. And as you can see, you're just using your own original combat player blueprint, HUDs, RPGs, game modes, yada yada yada. as you see, you got all your movements. You can see that the pelvis and hips all starting to twist there. You got all the proper movements. But now we need to actually work in the character blueprint. So that's pretty much it for the animation blueprint. Now you just go over to the actual character blueprint itself. And first we start off we're going to begin play first. And then we go into the test blueprint. And this one comes with there's quite a lot here, but most of this is not needed at all. Very little of it is actually essential for what you will need. So what we do first is we'll start with begin play. This is the begin play. So like I said, debugging. You can copy all this over if you want, but like I said, for me it's not essential. May not be for you either. So we would just copy all this. I won't even worry about these last stuff because I think that's mostly for if you want to assign this locomotion blueprint will also work on like AI characters and such. So you can attach it to them, but I haven't really done much work on that, so I'll just leave that behind for now. We just copy that back to our own character blueprint. And once again, you've got your begin play here. And we always have to make sure it initializes all our components. So once again, our friend sequence. And then we just paste that in here. Connect them up to these variables. Then we go get the tick, event tick, and once again, this is all server stuff, debuggings, and a few little testings of changing the color on mannequins. The only thing we really need in here is the this small little part here. Basically, whatever's on it. Section 2, disconnect. We just need this wee part here. All this bottom part, once again, that's all mostly AI stuff. You can test all that yourself later. So we copy this back to our own, and then just once again, just under event begin play, we'll get the event tick. We'll just paste that here. Compile that. Now comes some of the wee finicky part. I recommend watching the actual tutorials for this system. It'll give you more of an idea of in-depth of what each of these things do and how to use them properly. For me though, it was all a bit gobbledygook because I was learning it's all for a lot of just initial setup type of thing, whereas mine was merging with another system, so it was a bit more confusing. So generally all of this stuff isn't needed. This is all just examples of things that can be done with targeting, changing up your speed, in your camera from switching from first person to third person, all that kind of thing. You can see how all that's done yourself in the system. So what we basically need from all of this here is all of this. This. I think that is basically all we need from in this section. So we copy those. There's a couple of wee things in here, like your space bar for the jump, where we have a jump, in our function. So it can be tweaked up to work with that as well. And the land, the event on land is also built into our system as well already, so we don't need to worry about that. So we just copy those, bring them over here. Generally I'll put these into the movement system part here as well, so I'll just paste them here. And as you see, all these variables are basically taking from the events of the actual, the wee locomotion component, so you don't have to make tons more variables, no parenting, nothing like that. All we need to do then is just take this, we'll drag this over here, just so you can see it in action with ours. Put the movement forward and right. We'll just disconnect those from that way originally. You can add these booleans as well, just like they are here, from the false just into the connected tag, connected all that. That's all no issues. But for now, we'll just go with the basics here. Connect those, and forward is the Y, I believe. That, and I think that's the basics. We'll do a double check here and test. Yep, as you can see, that's basically the gist of it right there. You got all your movements, your jumping, your rolling, whole kit and caboodle. For some reason the crouching isn't working on this one that I'm testing, but it might just be it's picking up the items, your inventory. Let's see. All of that's still working. You're locking on the targets. Generally, as you can see, basically the gist of it, most of it is all working. For some reason, the crouching isn't. I'll look into that. But there is the basic system, and of course, as you're walking and running, you'll see I'm just running about there. The walk and sprint aren't working yet because we haven't set in the functions for that, which is easy to do. I'll just give you a wee showing of how to do that. That's basically basic and simple, but that's the core of it. There is all done. So if you want to know just the walking and the running, let's see, where's the trying to remember where toggle walk was. Oh yeah, that's here in the movement somewhere, down here. So what you gotta do, locomotion component, and client speed mode. And the default for this is that we, like jogging, running motion you've seen. And it's also got, basically you have walk, run, your run, walk, and your sprint. You can set the speed, in the other data table where it says data, there's data items and data speed. Like I said, you've got all these various different options here. You can set the animation for each individual one. If you're having any major issues with it, you can always contact the actual developer and show him your invoice for the system. You would do like you done for me, and he'll send you like a version that has all the original AL advanced locomotion system animations built in as well, and set for it, which was quite handy. So you actually are able to use a lot of the advanced locomotion animations themselves, which I do like about it. But as I was saying, so we set this. I'm gonna set this then to walking. Let's copy this. Put that to default for the running. Compile. And as you can see, that's your. Haven't set the speeds right now, so your walking's a little faster than it should be. There's your running, the walking, just by pressing the same button as you do with the combat system. just to make it a bit more plain to see. We'll do this sprinting one as well, just so you can see the real difference for us. So once again, we'll just copy these and go to sprinting. Where is sprinting? Ah, here we go. Generally, he's got a lot of functions nodes tied in with all of this, with these two new custom events. So I think the easiest thing really to do is to just paste them here. I'll get the sprint action. Pressed, unreleased. Just set this into sprinting. That back to the jogging afterwards, and then just to make it nice and convenient, so it blends in nicely with all of this. Then we'll just we'll get the start sprinting function and stop sprinting. Oh. Just bring in the locomotion, connect it up to these two. And as you can see, then you're able to just sprint past, like another sprint, and you're back to running. Sprint, run. As you can see, all the enemies are still reacting to us. And your stamina, as you can see up there, is still going down automatically, as it should. All your health, basically everything's working as intended in the combat system. So there you have it. It does have, like the wee stop and starts there. You see the legs, they'll kind of correct themselves as you're walking and running, drawing your weapon. It blends in. It blends in perfectly with the whole system. Obviously, you can tweak it up your own way. If you want like different stances for when you're in combat or out of combat, and all that kind of thing, that can all still be done as normal. You can interact with the shops, selling, the whole kit and caboodle. There you go. That's it's an alternative to the advanced locomotion system, and hopefully this will help a few people actually get sorted with it. So hope you enjoyed. That'll do me. Cheerio.